Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. If you probably know or not. As you probably can guess, NXT just had their go home show before this coming weekend for the Great American Bash and Evolution. So things could go either way, exciting before it. But however, battle lines are also being drawn before we get there. So we'll see how things will progress between starting now all the way to the weekend. But first things first, if you're big fans of the Japanese wrestling scene, you're in luck, you're always on the right channel. So first, we're going to be reviewing, of course, Marvelous with their event from back on May 5th, the 9th anniversary, which features, of course, a one-day tag team tournament to determine number one contenders to challenge for the AEW tag team belt. That's something, of course, we are going to be focusing on. And then, of course, we have two back-to-back events to review from ChocoPro, with ChocoPro number 458 that took place on the 26th of June in TOKYOSQUARE and Itabashi, featuring, of course, a number one contendership for the Asian Dream Tag Team belts, and, of course, the Super Asia Championship is on the line. And then we have ChocoPro number 459, where they return back to Ichigaya Square on the 29th of June. So anything could happen from there. And then, as always, we'll cap up our episode, as usual, with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up. 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 Get up, get up.
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. Let's call this court into session. So, let's begin with Marvelous. Alright, Marvelous. Now, this particular event took place back in May on May 5th in Korakuen Hall. This one is their 9th anniversary, in case anybody asks. Now, we opened up with, of course, with the founder and Yoshi legend Shigusa Nagayo, along with Miyu Momono. As you probably know, at the time, she was injured and she was out of action for quite some time. They were doing a promo, have no idea what they were talking about, but it's great to see Miyu Momono there because, as you probably can guess, it was difficult not seeing her because she was injured. But it's great to see her. She was involved in some ways. Now, our first round matches with the one-day tag team tournament, we have about 4 matches for the first round. Now, our first match, we have the rookies, Senka Akatsuki and Sora Ayama, taking on, of course, former tag champions, Magenta, Maria and Riko Kawahara. Now, some of you may think of this match, who already seen it or not, that this match will definitely go into a Magenta due to the fact that they have better cohesion and better experience, which of course I would agree. But what this match turned out to be into a total upset. No one predicted it. Ayame was able to pick up the win when she pinned Riko Kawahara, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, they advance. I'm like, holy smoly. I can't even believe that happened. And this was a total shock for Magenta. They never lost in this fashion. But that's exactly what happened. So, I don't know, but we'll see where that leads. Now, our next match involving this first round of the tag team tournament, we have Sadie Gibbs teaming up with Johnny Robbie. They take on Aya Housen and Benny. So, it's an interesting combination, you know. Many probably would think that Benny is one of the most popular individuals, and not to mention the most aggressive. Sadie Gibbs, many of you remember her from her tour with Star when she did that corkscrew plancha out. And Johnny Robbie, well, mostly we've seen her in West Coast Pro. But it was a pretty good match. But in the end, it was A.L. Housen who picked up the win on Sadie Gibbs. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, they advanced. Now, our next match, we have Amira teaming up with Chihiro Hashimoto. They take on Kusi Ninja Ranmanu and Hibiscus Me. Now, for those who know Ranmu, she likes to freeze people, like timeout, and people just froze like that. But of course, that trick did not end well by any means necessary, because later on, Hashimoto powerbombed Hibiscus Me, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our last match involving the first round, we have Unagi Sayaka and Isuki Aoki taking on Takumi Iroha from Marvelous, and of course, Suri. Now, it's no secret that Suri dislikes Unagi. For those who don't know, Suri had her own thoughts about Unagi, about her as a wrestler and all that. But of course, Suri is one of the most toughest individuals we met. But in the end, it was Suri who picked up the win with the Uronagi onto Unagi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, they proceed on to the semifinals. Now, we do have a bit of a second round match on this one, just one. We have, of course, what's their name? Oh yeah, Yurika Oka and Maika Iwata. Iwata. Now, for those who did not see this, Oka is running away from Mika Iwata because I don't think she wanted to be teaming up with her whatsoever, but they had to face against Amari Shihiro Hashimoto, but that's pretty much what happened. But of course, you probably would think they wouldn't coexist, but in the end, it was Amira who picked up the win on Yuriko Oka, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But however, there was supposed to be another second round matches, but that one was moved out because of the of an injury with another wrestler. But everything worked out well for everybody, so we'll leave things as it is. Now, let's jump into the semifinals of the one-day tag team tournament. We have, of course, the rookies, Sora Ayame and Seka Atsuki, taking on Aya Housen and Midi. Now, so far, they were lucky enough to defeat Magenta, but the real question is, can they pull off another miracle? I would say they could have been, but in the end, it was a spinning heel kick by Benny onto Akatsuki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done, and they proceed on to the finals. Next match involving the tournament, which is part of the semifinals, we have Amira and Chihiro Hashimoto taking on Takumi and Suri. Now, it's no secret for those since Suri made her return to Japan, one of her first opponents that she challenged was Big Hash herself. That's one of those things that kind of goes into it. But it was, of course, what's her name? Takumi Iroha with the victory roll on Amira, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, they're in the finals, and they face against, of course, Ehausen and Denny. Now, there is a match that they decided to have, the only men's exhibition match. We have Ryan Clancy and Robert Martyr. They take on Titus Alexander and Leo Isaka. So I have to say it was a pretty good match, nonetheless. I mean, Titus Alexander, as you know, has trained under Shigusa since his first tour, but he coexisted very well with Leo. But in the end, Leo was able to pick up the win with a swanton on Cleansing, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our finals of the one-day tag team tournament, we have Ehausen versus Veni. Ehausen and Veni taking on Takumi and Suri. I have to say this match was insane in every possible way, but I wasn't too sure where this is gonna go. Now, of course, Takumi was attempting to apply the running three, but it's always been dodged. But like the old saying goes, either a second or a third time, it's always the charm, and that always helps out. Takumi applied it onto Veni, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. They are the winners. However, while they were doing the post-match promo, they were attacked by Magenta. They came out with a new look, and now they turned heel. So this is something I did not expect, but it's interesting. But I do know they will be challenging they did challenge for those tag belts. Not gonna spoil too much until I keep proceeding. So we'll see what happens. But as of right now, let's just end it right here and move on with ChocoPro. Okay, ChocoPro number 458. Now this is one of their bigger shows in Tokyo Square in Itabashi, and this is called the Make at Kusa. I think it's pronounced right. If not, there we go. So this took place late June on the 26th. It opened up, of course, with the performance with Mei Shiruga and company, doing her usual thing. But however, she did, as soon as the performance was over, she did inform the entire ChocoPro fan base with the unfortunate sad news that Chiko Shikawa will not be participating due that she injured herself during training. So it's a good added bonus for us to know, because I'm sure many fans probably did not anticipate her to get injured while that happened. But unfortunately, the show must go on, as the old saying goes. So let's see what happens. Now, our first match, we have a bit of a three-way tag team match. We have Shin Suzuki and Chonshiro, better known as Shin Dragon. They take on Shota Kawakami and Munetatsu Nakamura versus Antonio Honda and Kaori Yoriyama. Now, factors, of course, you probably know. When it comes to Kaori Yoriyama, she is a fad. She is a high speedster, and Antonio Honda, well, you want to steer clear from his shenanigans, with his jokes and stories. But I don't know about, of course, Shota Kawakami and Munetatsu Nakamura. Well, they're not a big of a threat. But in the end, in this match, it was Shon Chiru who picked up the win by submission onto Kawakami. And just like that, Kawakami had no choice but to tap out, leaving Shin Dragon to pick up the win. Our next match, we have Miya Yotsuba taking on Balinaki. Now, this is a challenge for her because, of course, not only she's facing Balinaki, she is facing the tag team partner of her mentor, Mei Shiruga. So that's a lot of things that be said when it comes about it. But in the end, of course, Balinaki, I know he brought everything that he has in order for her to understand that this is no longer fun and games. So he did defeat her by applying a face plant, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have Hiroyi Iwata, Soy, and Kiko Kihara taking on Kaho Hiromi and, of course, the current Asian Dream Tag Team Champions, known as Bellflowers, consisting of Sayaka and Makoto. Now, of course, anything could happen. If the tag team champions were pinned in this match, they would have been title shots given out on this particular day. However, however, in the end, it was, of course, Sayaka that was able to pick up the victory when she pinned Hiroyi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next match is a number one contenders for the Asian Dream Tag Team belts. Now, Chris Brooks was supposed to team up with Chi on this match, but due to the unfortunate circumstances of Chi getting hurt, he had to find another partner. Now, he didn't introduce them until their opponents, Sawada Kamen and Hagane Shino, were in the ring until they found out it turned out to be Balinaki. Now, this was an unusual choice from Chris, because we've seen, of course, Chris and Balin, since they're two different tag team specialists, that they never get along. But I don't know what was Chris thinking of having him as his tag partner. But other than that, I had a feeling that it may or may not have worked from the start. I mean, Balinaki, he does have great killer instinct and all that, but that didn't do any well for him until he ended up being frog splashed by Sawadi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, during the post-match, the current tag champions, Bellflowers, showed up, sending their message loud and clear that they have them on their sights. So we'll see what happens. Now, our main event is the Super Asian Championship. Mei Suruga defends her title against Sayaka Obihiro, or just call her Obi. Now, no one would have predicted this was going to happen. Obi picked up a hell of a moment to pin Mei Suruga to cash in her opportunity for a shot of the belt. Now, some people would say, how will Mei Suruga deal with it? I mean, Obi is a very unorthodox wrestler, but nonetheless, for Mei, it's all the same to her. But she was able to pick up the win when she applied submission, and just like that, Obi had no choice but to tap out, and just like that, Mei Suruga retained the championship. So things turn out for the best for Mei. So we'll see what happens from here. But so right now, we'll end things with this one with ChocoPro. Let's do the other one, which is 459. Okay, so we continue with more with ChocoPro with number 459, and this took place at Ichigaya Square on June 29th. So yes, this is like a couple of days after their Tokyo Square event that took place, so anything could happen. Now, our opening of the show, of course, we have the general manager, Ao Kizuki, as usual, greeting the fans and giving the info of the event, so you know how that goes. Now, our first match, we have Balinaki teaming up with one half of the Asian Dream Tag Team Champions, Sayaka. They take on Hiroyi and Harashima. Of course, Harashima, many of you may know him from DDT, so that sets it up right there. So the real question is how this is going to roll out. I wasn't too sure until, of course, Sayaka was able to pick up the win when she pinned Hiroyi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Balinaki and Sayaka picked up the win. Now, our next match, we have Sayaka Obihiro taking on her longtime rival, Transam Hiroshi. Now, for those who don't know Transam, he is a bit of a, not a weird guy, but more like rather unique in its own way. There are moments I've seen him where he does a little singing, because there was this one time during the COVID-19 time, they were all doing the We Will Rock You, and he was singing the entire song. At some point, he was going to sing a song, and then all of a sudden, he and of course Obi ended up doing a duet. But unfortunately, that may have helped her boost up, but apparently it ended with Trans applying a a throwdown onto her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next match, we have tag team action. We have Soy teaming up with Miya Yatsuba, as always, because we have seen recently these two ladies team up. They face against Mochi Natsumi and Mei Shruga. Many of you may not know this. These two ladies actually were trained by the same person, which is, of course, Emi Sakura. Now, of course, factors of this, Mochi and Mei, since they were trained by Emi Sakura, most likely they could pick up the win. But the one thing I did not anticipate, for those who didn't know this or not, Mei Shuriga was the one responsible for training Miya Yatsuba, due to the fact that Miya, for those who don't know, she is the first ever non-Emi Sakura trainee. She was never trained by Emi Sakura. She was trained by none other than our current Super Asian champion, of course, Mei Shruga. But this one, I did not expect it. I hope if anybody's seen it, did not expect it. Miya pinned Mei Shruga just like that. 1, 2, 3. Damn. I did not see that one coming. But what does this mean in a perspective? Well, she could cash in an opportunity for the Super Asian Championship, which at one point she did try to challenge it, but unfortunately she couldn't do it the first time due to her injury, and now there is a possibility she could actually pull it up. So the real question is when and where. She hasn't issued it, but she could call it out. So we'll see what happens. Now, as for a Jonkin tournament, we have, of course, the winner turned out to be Mochi Natsumi, and the runner-up was our general manager of ChocoPro AI, and just like that, it was completely over. But it was a good show, I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed it. But the one thing I was surprised is Miya, of course, winning the match. That's one of the things that still goes out, but not bad. So we'll see what happens until then. So right now, let's move on to our last and final review, and that is, of course, NXT. Final review, NXT. This is the go-home show before the Great American Bash and Evolution for this coming weekend. Now, we open up with a gauntlet match. Ricky Saints will take on the Vanity Project, which, of course, are Ethan Page's new buddies. The stipulation is this: if he defeats all three members, Ricky Smokes, Brandon Taylor, and Jackson Drake, then, of course, Ricky Saints will name the stipulation at the Great American Bash for the North American Championship. Now, his first obstacle is Brad himself. Now, of course, Brad, being an arrogant piece of works, well, he ended up being DDT'd himself, and just like that, Ricky Saints moved on. However, the real question is, how much can he do? Well, Ricky Smokes had the decency to try to go aggressive, but unfortunately that backfired on him when there was a modified jackknife that Ricky Saints was able to obtain and pick up the win. And now he faces Jackson Drake, who is the current Men's Evolve champion, who is basically a guy who knows how to find your weakness. But however, Ricky Saints was able to apply the Rochambeau, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Ricky Saints wins the gauntlet. However, during the post-match, he decided for the stipulation for the NXT North American Championship, it's going to be a Falls Count Anywhere match. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Now, as you know, Evolution is happening this coming, I believe, Sunday. Everybody is involved. However, of course, we did see Soruka, Zaria, Kalani Jordan, and Lola Vice talking about it, until Lainey Reed, who many people know, she has been known to cheat her way through. Well, it looks like no one's having her around. However, Lainey likes to open her big fat mouth. And of course, what's her name? Kalani Jordan decided that she was going to teach her a lesson. So we'll see where it goes. Now, we did see, of course, a very interesting segment between both, what's her name? Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe. Because as you probably know, they will be teaming up to, of course, at the Great American Bash to deal with the Fatal Influence, calling it the Glamour Workout. So basically, that's something very interesting to see. So I can't wait. Now, our next match is a bit of an interesting one. We have Tavion Heights challenging Charlie Dempsey. Now, if Heights defeats Dempsey, he's officially out of the No Quarter Catch Crew. However, it did not work out in his favor because Charlie Dempsey decided to put him in a submission. He did not tap out, but Ren Sinclair had no choice but to throw in the towel, even though Tavian's like, don't do it, don't do it, even though she refuses to see Tavian Heights getting hurt. But that's exactly what happened. Now, ahead of their title match, Hank and Tank were pumping themselves over, ready to go to battle against the Culling. However, they ran into their buddy Javon Evans, as you know, who dealt with Jasper Troy. Well, while he was having a bit of fun with the current NXT Tag Team Champions, well, Jasper Troy showed up and attacked them out of nowhere. So you saw how that was going to roll out, but yeah. Now, our next match, we have Mike Santana and Joe Hendry dealing with High Rise, Tyson Dupont and Tyreek Eway, along with that idiot Wes Lee. Now, of course, as you all know, Mike Santana and, of course, Joe Hendry will be in the action in a three-way match for the TNA World Championship against Trick Williams. So you probably can guess that's a bit of a preview. However, of course, at some point we all knew Wesley was going to get involved, but that backfired thanks to Mike Santana until he applied the spin the block onto Dupont, and just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. However, Trick Williams showed up to send a direct message saying that no one's going to take this belt away from him. Well, we'll see what happens when we get to, of course, a Slammiversary. So that's something we're definitely going to see. Now, we did see a very interesting video involving Yoshiko Inamura. As you know, he will be facing against Obafemi for the NXT Championship, but we did see his fellow Japanese wrestling pals, more specifically Keiji Muto, who many of you may know him as the Great Muta, giving him that they are behind him 100%. And he wasn't the only one. So was now Michi Marufuji, the genius of the Arc. So was, of course, Oka Zazaki saying, bring that belt back to Noah. Io Sky, of course. And then finally, the Supernova himself, Kato Kiyomiya. So basically, everybody's behind him. Now, Dark State, as you know, it seems that things are becoming a bit interesting. People presume that it was them who attacked Hank and Tech in the back. However, we don't know, but there is the possibility. I mean, Dark State are willing to make a statement no matter what. So we'll see what happens. Now, we did see a bit of a face-to-face confrontation between both Yoshiko Inamura and our NXT champion Obafemi. You know how that is. Yoshiko is 100% confident that he will walk out. Even Josh Briggs believed that too. And then all hell broke loose as always. Now, we did see Kalani Jordan dealing with Laney Luck. Well, you probably would have thought Laney Luck, Laney Reed, my bad. Laney Reed, of course, lurking her way to ensure she finds a way to pick up the win. It did not work in her favor because Kalani Jordan overcome it by applying the leg split moonsault. And just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. However, Laney was so dumb she did not even see what was coming because Thea Hale still has an axe to grind towards him. But yep, that's how it rolls up. Now, as you know, the D'Angelo family is about to implode. Well, it seems that Andrea Rizzo showed up out of nowhere from hiding and decided to set up a match called the Final Battle. So basically, this is the end for the D'Angelo family. So she kind of talked to Tony D'Angelo, Luca Crucifino, and Stax. Now, Stax, as you probably know, he thought that this was a trap. Nope. This was a thing that Rizzo decided to do. So we'll see what happens. Now, in the ring, we did see Jasper Shepard once again crying like a little bitch about the fact that he will not get another opportunity of the NXT title. He is demanding Ava to put him in a three-way match at, of course, the Great American Bash. Well, unfortunately, it's not going to happen because Javon Evans still has an axe to grind against him. So you probably can guess that is going to happen. So we'll see where that leads. Now, our main event is the NXT Tag Team belts. We have the Culling, more specifically Nico Vance and Sean Spears, along with Tatum Paxley and, what's her name? Izzy Dame. And they face against Hank and Tech. Now, their sole purpose is to take those belts and end the fantasy story of Hank and Tech. But, of course, it could have gone the Culling's way if it wasn't for interference by both Izzy and Tatum until, of course, Soruka and Zarya got involved, and that kind of changed the trajectory. But it did allow for Hank and Tank to pick up the victory with their usual move onto Spears, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, the entirety of the event ended, of course, with the general manager, Ava, talking about Evolution and all that, until, of course, Fatal Influence showed up, trying to act like they think they're more superior. Then we have Jordan Grace, Lash Legend, Stephanie Vakir, Natalia with Maxine Dupree, almost the entirety of the women's locker room in all three brands. So, but all of a sudden, all hell broke loose in the brawl. Anything could happen when we get to Evolution, so we'll see what happens. So as of right now, we'll end things here with NXT and move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. As always, let's begin with upcoming events. Let's start with GCW to put them in the pile. As you know, we have their Dallas event on July 11th in Dallas. Bosses of all bosses. Elena Black, formerly known as Cora Jade, will be in action to take on Priscilla Kelly, formerly known as Gigi Dolan. So that's going to be a real fun match. And then we have, of course, the Coney Island event on the 19th of July. Bash at the ballpark. The Amazing Red will take on Marcus Mathers. And then GCW has announced for the first time ever they will be making their official debut in Vermont. And this will happen in November. It's still unclear where or when, where or what venue they're going to be in. We still got a long way to go, but as soon as we get closer and closer to that, we'll let you guys know. Now, as you know, on July 13th, there is the DPW Tag Festival. They announced the Davey Bang and August Matthews will take on the Grizzle Young Vets, our current Deadlock Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions. So that's going to be a bit of a wild. House of Glory has announced for the highest intensity event on the 1st of August. We have I Spit in the People that don't want to be cool. That's right. Carlito will be involved. And then, of course, we have Jersey Championship Wrestling with High Noon. That'll take place on the 3rd of August. Matt Tremont will take on Gary J. So that's pretty much what we have for upcoming events. So let's talk about our developments here. Fightful Select reports about Blake Monroe about the possibilities of having her turn into heel. So that's something that's been discussed within the sources in WWE. Well, we've seen that happen before in AEW, but we'll see. Tony Khan recently went onto the AEW All In Texas media call. Two things were subject that he talked about. The first one he talked about, since Jamie Hayter is out on injury, causing a domino effect that kind of led to Queen Aminata to step up into the AEW television. Yeah, so basically, people were expecting Jamie Hayter to just be back and do her usual thing. Now Queen Aminata is stepping up, so that's great. But Tony Khan also mentioned that the return of the Continental Classic will happen by the end of 2025. So that's pretty much what we do know. Now, many of you may have heard what's going on with Tyler Bate. He's been out on injury since last year. However, he just posted out on his social media that says, not injured, waiting. So it seems that he's still waiting for WWE to call him when he'll be back and that sort of thing. So, I mean, yeah, I get it's a pain in the ass. And then finally, Victoria, many of you may remember, who was a former WWE Women's Champion. Well, apparently it's been confirmed that she will not be participating in Evolution. This is what she had to say on her Instagram Live. I will not be at Evolution. I didn't get booked. My back is kind of funky, and I'll be honest with you. So basically, her back is having problems, but at the same time, she did not get the call. I mean, I would say it's sad, but at the same time, she needs to take care of herself. So that's pretty much what I would like to say. So we'll see what happens from there. So until then, let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. Our priorities for that, we have WWE Evolve and NXT and AEW Dynamite. As you all know, we are now heading towards All In Texas. We're excited for this. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of talk because, as you know, All American Bash is competing against, of course, AEW. Typical WWE crap. I mean, they want to outdo them, they want to obliterate them, but no matter what they do, they need to understand they're not going nowhere. But until then, we'll see what happens. Now, if there's any other reviews I might do prior before that, I haven't decided yet, but I'll let you guys know once we get there. Now, I'm still behind, of course, on Marvelous, Tokyo Triple Wrestling, Mighty Gold, and a few others. So I'll try to catch up as much as possible. And I am considering doing the Pro Wrestling Noah Monday Magic shows and Wrestle Magic. So we'll see what happens from there. But as we speak, I'll leave things as it is. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.